Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the webinar, the Service Business Success webinar. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Aldrima Harper, and I'll be your host. And before we get into the training, I wanted to just take a moment to go over just a little bit of housekeeping. If you're here live, welcome. If you are listening to the recording, I want to welcome you as well. So here are just a few things that we're going to go over, a few things actually, just before we begin the training. So during the presentation, you'll be on mute, but you can unmute yourself as well by hitting the mute button on your phone. Also, if you're not in the Facebook group, you can actually join the Productivity Challenge, our Facebook group. This is for the Productivity Rockstars. This is where we create Productivity Rockstars. And it's a place where you can ask questions after the webinar is over. Also, there'll be a Q&A where you can ask questions. And we really want you to join the group so that you can ask questions and engage after the call. If you're joining online, then there'll be a chat box there where you can post your questions and comments. And if by chance I don't get a chance to answer your questions, I'll get the answer to you. This recording or this training will be for 1 hour. We've got a lot to cover, so I will be moving a little fast. Also, since you registered for this training, you'll get a link so that you can access the call at your convenience. So just be ready to take notes, get out your pen and paper, and write down any questions that you may have. And because, again, like I said, I have a lot of things I want to cover. Also, hopefully you had an opportunity to download the Service Business Guide to Success, and that you'll have an opportunity to go through that book. And I think it's like 8 pages, so there's a lot of information in there to help you as well. So I've shared 3 characteristics in the promo video. So, I understand and I know that it takes more than those 3 characteristics, which is self-motivation, business knowledge, and good time management skills. But what we'll be sharing are 4 additional or 4 more personal characteristics that you must have in order to have a successful service business. Now, keep in mind that this is not all inclusive, okay? This is not an exhaustive list. However, these are some primary personal characteristics that you must have in order to have a successful business. So again, I really, want you to go ahead, make sure that you downloaded the service guide, and be ready, again, like I said, to take notes. So I know as a professional organizer and a coach, I've been in the service industry, for more than a decade. So I can really tell you that I've had some highs and I've had some lows. But the highs, of course, they're much better, but the lows really empower you to grow. So in the next 45 minutes or so, my primary focus will be 3 things, and you'll get some yummy things, some additional things as well, but primarily I'm going to share some of the additional personal characteristics that you'll need to be successful in your service-based business. And number 2, I'll go over some of the advantages and disadvantages of running a service-based business, I'll also share what service-based business owners are doing to ensure success, and we'll allow for some Q&A as well. So make sure, again, like I said, that you had an opportunity, to download your free success guide, and just take some notes, and you can download that later. So by way of introduction, my name is Aldrima Harper. I am a productivity strategist. I'm the creator of SuccessBizAcademy.com. I'm an organizing consultant at SimplisticOrganizing.com. And this is where I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs I've been doing this for more than 12 years, but I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs, life coaches, trainers, and service providers or service professionals to create solutions to eliminate clutter and overwhelm and boost your overall productivity, whether it's personal or business, so that you can create freedom in your business. It's all about having freedom as an entrepreneur. I also help you to be more efficient and profitable and focused on running and growing your business. Like I said, I've been in the organizing industry for more than 12 years, and when I started out as a professional organizer back in 2003, I did it on a part-time basis, and then kind of fast forwarding up to about 2008, somewhere around that time, I really got serious and made the decision to go for it full-time. And I organized everybody and anybody who needed organizing, and I was really, really busy. I was making really good money. And so I'm thinking, to myself, this is good. This is good. I'm making money. I love what I do. But I was so exhausted. And here's why I was really exhausted. And if you've listened to me before, you've heard me share this before. I was exhausted because I had no systems. Nothing was automated. Everything was in my head. I had actually created a job for myself. I even tried hiring an assistant, but it just ended up, I ended up doing it myself because I hadn't documented any of my processes, and nothing was automated. And so here's the deal. When you're doing all the work yourself, you're not in business. You're self-employed. You've actually created a job for yourself, and that is really okay. If you're like me, you're passionate about what you do, you absolutely love what you do, that's wonderful. But there comes a point in time when you have to look at the growth of your business, and that's what we're going to really talk about, some of the things we're going to talk about today. So again, I welcome you to the webinar, and my goal, again, is to provide some solutions and things that you can use, some solutions and some tools that you can use for your business, particularly service-based businesses, because that's what I identify with most, being a service-based business. So I understand those challenges. So again, I say welcome to the webinar. So today, people are increasingly leaving their 9-to-5 jobs and starting businesses where they offer services directly to their customers. Most people are either doing this, offline or online, but they're offering services, like website building or, free advertising for offline services, pet sitting, appliance repair, all types of businesses. But, people are, the statistics, rather, are really, really astronomical. According to the Harvard Business Review, as of February 2014, there were approximately 14.4 million self-employed Americans, and of these, 9.2 million were unincorporated or self-employed workers, and another 5.2 million were incorporated. So those are huge, huge numbers. So just take a moment to consider that. Approximately 14.4 million, that's a pretty high number. And over the course of the year from September 14 to September 2014 to September 2015, the total U.S. workforce kind of hovered around 120 to 125 million people. Wow. So this means that 1 in 10 people, or 1 in 10 of the working American population, is actually self-employed. And that's huge. So needless to say, one of the key reasons for this high number of self-employment is the ease of starting your own business, over the internet. So And sorry, I know you hear some stuff in the background. I have the windows open, and it's really nice and cool here in the Dallas area. But let's continue. So, as I said, that's a really, really high number, and I must say that I am glad to be included in that number because everyone is attracted to the idea of self-employment. Going the self-employment route for there are different reasons. Yes. Hello? Okay, I believe that someone came in and maybe their phone was not mute. But that's okay. That's okay. So make sure that you mute your phone, and there will be a time of Q&A just in case you missed the introduction. We'll come back to you and allow you some time for Q&A. So everyone is attracted to the idea of going, the self-employment route, and there are many reasons. But some of the main reasons include doing what you want to do, okay, taking charge of your own work life and your personal life, flexibility, no more commuting. The earning potential is astronomical. The sky is really the limit when it comes to self-employment. And if you've worked for someone in the past, you know that those are some of the benefits when it comes to being self-employed, okay? But there are huge, huge benefits. Now, starting your own service-based business, because that's what we're talking about, doesn't necessarily require you to quit your day job. In fact, some people will continue to work their full-time jobs but offer the services on the side. They have a little side hustle, to supplement their income. And that's a good strategy. One good strategy for getting started is to keep your regular job but start earning through your business and only quit your job when your business becomes your main income. And supplementing your income or replacing your lost income through your own business is one way to kind of hedge against the economic instability and risk. If something happens or you're laid off from your job, you still have your business to provide your income until you get another. You may also you may consider also multiple service businesses. Like I was just sharing with you, I actually have 3 businesses that I use, and all 3 do provide services. I have an organizing business, I have a coaching business, and I have my Success Biz Academy where I have online courses. And so, you can offer a variety of services or similar services to different markets in order to generate multiple streams of income. Some service providers are set up their businesses that can then run with little input, right? Thus earning a residual income. Residual income. So your choices are starting a service-based business and generate all of your income from it, or starting multiple service businesses and generate all of your income from them, work full-time or part-time while supplementing your income through your service business, or work full-time or part-time while supplementing your income through multiple service businesses. So there are a lot of options there. So a service business is just as the name says, a business that serves regular customers or businesses, okay? And there's a few examples, of course: personal services, business services. Well, personal services like a personal assistant, professional organizing like I do, a driver, cleaner, massage therapist, personal trainer. Perhaps you offer bookkeeping services or accounting services. And for business services, perhaps you offer consulting services or IT services, that type of thing. Perhaps you offer marketing and sales or home services, family services, event services. So you see there are a lot of options in terms of the type of services that you can provide. So here's what you're going to get from this webinar. Okay, and I talked about it a little bit earlier, but what you're going to learn from this webinar, we're going to talk about some of the personal characteristics and natural abilities that make it easier for you to either start your business or run your service-based business. Okay, you're also going to know about some of the pitfalls or some of the pros and cons of running a service-based business. And you're going to know what the successful service-based business owners are doing now to ensure success. So let's just talk about, and I'm sorry, and then there's also going to be a Q&A as well. So how do you know if you have what it takes? How do you know if you have what it takes to be a service provider? How do you know if you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? Okay, you know, anyone can start and run a successful service business, but there are certain characteristics and natural strengths that make it a little bit easier. So before you start on this path, or even if you've already started on this path, and I know that there are some of you that's on this webinar right now that's already, you know, well into your service business. And but you should really understand that some of these characteristics and measure yourself against them, because they could help provide some type of barometer as to why you're not reaching some level of success in your business. So we'll just talk about, you know, some of those personal traits or personal characteristics. And if these traits don't sound like you, it doesn't mean that you won't be successful, okay? The point of listing these traits is just to, like I said, give you a barometer or give you an idea of some of the challenges you may face, okay? And after looking at these traits, you'll understand how ready you are to start your business, or you can recognize some of the ideas, you know, where you face challenges and, you know, continue in your business. So we talked about self-motivation, we talked about business or industry knowledge, and we also talked about time management. Now, let me move this. Sorry about that. Let me move this back a little bit. Okay. All right. And so if you had an opportunity just to kind of look at the little promo video, you know, we talked about a little bit of that. So I'm not going to, you know, bore you with all those details again. There's some other additional characteristics that really help. It really helps if you have some of these characteristics already. So let me move on. Okay. All right. You need organizational skills. You need to be organized. Any of you who's been with me for any length of time know that that is my primary focus. If I just see the word organized, I get excited. So, but you need organizing skills or organizational skills. But here's the thing: if you don't have them, it can be learned, right? If you're not that organized, you can learn to get organized, okay? But if you're generally an organized person somewhat, this will definitely speed up your learning curve. And when the time comes that you're, you know, handling multiple customers and jobs and revenue streams and all that kind of stuff, you know, you'll need to keep all of that stuff organized. Management skills. It really helps a great deal if you're good at managing people. You may not even be at the point right now in your business where you are managing people, but hopefully at some point you'll experience the type of growth that you need, that at some point where you will need to have additional people. Now that doesn't mean that your goal is to have employees, because my goal is not to have employees, but I do want to be able to outsource and have independent contractors, of which I do in my organizing business. And so if you're good at managing other people, this really, really helps. It's possible that your business will never hire an additional staff, but you have to have, at some point, you need to have these skills. And management is a skill that you can, you know, outsource at some point, but you really definitely will need to have those type of skills to run a successful business. And this is what the the people who are experiencing success in their businesses, they do have, or they outsource that, okay? I hope that made sense. I said a lot of words, but marketing skills. When service businesses are just starting out, they usually don't have the kind of budget to hire, marketing staff. And, they have to rely on online marketing or SEO or social media, this kind of stuff. But, again, this is something that can be outsourced, when you have the budget for that. But you definitely need to have marketing skills. People skills. You need to have some good social skills for interacting with your customers, okay? If you are providing, a personal service, you need to have a personal service, business services, and, all the services that we, listed earlier. You need to have personal or good social skills for interacting with your customers and with vendors or other businesses, so that you rely on. So these are some additional skills you definitely will need in order to experience success in your business. Now, there are some entrepreneurial skills that you will need as well, okay? Because one major challenge for many, many self-employed people is that you have to be both a professional at what service you provide and an entrepreneur, and sometimes that's really kind of hard to juggle. I know quite a few people who have struggled with that, and I myself struggled with it. So this is something that, in terms of being an entrepreneur, you really must have, okay? So no matter what kind of business you're actually starting, you will inevitably become an entrepreneur. That should be your goal, okay? So even though you may not consider yourself one now, you actually are one. And so you will need some entrepreneurial skills, such as self-discipline and motivation, because sometimes it is hard doing this thing alone, and you have to find your way to stay motivated and stay encouraged about your business and your entrepreneurial endeavors. Your decision-making and problem-solving is another entrepreneurial skill that you should have. You should have a vision for your business. What is the future of your business? What does that look like? Okay? You need to have the ability to adapt and be flexible, because let me tell you, entrepreneurship goes up and down, and so there's no constant in terms of being an entrepreneur. You need to be able to persevere. I mean, let me tell you, if there was enough time on this webinar to share how many times I have faced, struggles, trying to remain focused and persevered in my business. I mean, because there were a lot of challenges, and still are. I'm not saying that there aren't any challenges, but you need to really have some tough skin and be able to persevere in the face of adversity. The constant search for new ways to grow your business is another entrepreneurial skill. If you stay stagnant and you don't keep up with the trends and the things that's going on in your industry, you are not going to be, sorry about that, I meant to turn my phone off and I did not. Okay, there we go. So you need to, again, find new ways to grow your business. So those are some entrepreneurial skills that you need, as well as understanding your market, being self-reliant, having self-confidence, having the ability to commit, at least some sense of competitiveness. Now, I will say I am not a very competitive person. As a matter of fact, my husband, he loves to play games, and usually by the third, time where, by the third round, I'm usually at the point where it's like, okay, you just go ahead, I'm done. I mean, you have to have some sense of competitiveness. And so that is an area where, for me, I need to really develop a little bit more. So again, there's a great deal, to consider. And the point is really not to discourage you, but rather help you to set expectations. If you are new, as far as, your service business or being an entrepreneur, there are a lot of times we don't know what to expect because we haven't been told. We see other people running, successful businesses, and we don't know what those expectations are because we haven't, maybe perhaps we haven't sat down to, talk to someone or, to find out what the challenges are. We see a lot of the glory of being an entrepreneur. We see that they're making money, there's a lot of freedom in their businesses and things like that. And, they're sitting on the beach and, all this kind of stuff. However, a lot of those entrepreneurs are not sharing with you the struggles that it took to get there. So hopefully, again, this is not to discourage you from being an entrepreneur. This is really just to kind of help you set some realistic expectations. It takes a while. These successes, take a while. There's no such thing as an overnight success, and so that's why that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this webinar. So now that you have some realistic expectations, let's kind of move forward. Okay. So, again, we're just going to kind of go through, a few of the advantages and disadvantages, and then what are some things that, you can do to move forward in your business, some strategies that you can use to move forward. So some of the advantages, again, no, I don't think I did say this. Okay, so some of the advantages are flexibility, working at home, more time with your family, and this is really in terms of a service business. There's minimal startup costs. You have a lot of independence, and the earning potential is really humongous because when you have a product, or let's just say if you are a business or a product-based business, you may have to have inventory, or there may be a cap on how much money you can make. But when you're in a service business, that adds a little bit more of the earning potential, provided that you do some of the things necessary in order to help you expand your business. Now, some of the disadvantages are sometimes we tend to not be able to have a good work-life balance. And I know, I think I've heard Jen, who is actually on the call, I think I've heard her talk about this in terms of, what that looks like. But and I can really say that for myself, in being in a service-based business, sometimes I have a tendency, I guess I could say it this way, I have a tendency to be a workaholic. And so I really have to monitor my work-life balance because I absolutely love what I do. And so if you're one of those type of people that loves what you do, it's really easy to really kind of fall prey to that temptation of not being able to, have good balance, a good work-life balance. And so, again, I remember Jen doing a scope on this, and so she takes the time out, to be with her son, and has a date night with her son, and being with her husband and her family and all that kind of stuff. And you really do have to make sure that you do that, because if you are, like me, where maybe you don't do that very well, you have to watch that. So, okay, so I said enough about that, all right? So discipline, it takes a great deal of discipline, to work for yourself. And, isolation and isolation is really, really big. I have found that when you become an entrepreneur, you can kind of have a tendency to isolate yourself. You miss that social interaction, with people. And so one of the things that I do is I love coffee shops. And so, because I'm one of those kind of people that loves to be at home. And so when I work from home, I love my home environment. I love to be at home. And so I have to actually get out there and, make myself interact with people, get the type of support that I need from my peers. So I do, a lot of networking and things like that. And so, but isolation can really become one of your downfalls or, one of the disadvantages if you're not very careful. Wearing multiple hats. When you run your own business, whether it's, a service business or whether it's, a product-based business, you wear multiple hats. You have to be the accountant, you got to be the boss, you got to be the specialist, and, the HR department, all those kinds of things. And so, but you really have to be careful because when you get so busy working in your business, you tend to neglect, the quality can go down with your business. And so particularly in a service-based business, you can kind of neglect the quality of service that you're giving to your clients because you're wearing all of these hats and you're only one person. So those are some of the, like I said, the advantages, and these are some of the disadvantages. And so let's move on. Now, what I wanted to share with you also are some ways that you can accelerate your business to ensure success. These are things that the successful business owners, particularly service business owners, because again, that's what I am. These are some of the things that they do. Okay, so we face a lot of challenges throughout the life cycle of our businesses. And so for someone who's struggling to get started, there's going to be a lot of challenges. So, however, there are ways to accelerate your business. So let's just go over a few of those things, okay? All right. You want to accelerate your business by optimizing visibility, okay? Optimizing visibility. You need to get new eyeballs on your business, okay? And so the biggest challenge that we face a lot of times is getting people to come to you. So you need to work to attract new business as a service, professional. You have the tools and the skills to carry out the work for your customers. So how do you actually do that in terms of a service business and get more people, to find you, okay? So you definitely want to be attracting new business, okay? You want to make sure that, again, that you are, even when your business is doing well and things are going well, you definitely want to make sure that you are always doing things to gain visibility in your business. Here are some ways that we do it. This is actually how I met Jen, Periscope, okay? Periscope is definitely a resource and a tool that you can use to gain new eyeballs on your business, okay? One of the things that Periscope, and again, this is not going to be a webinar about Periscope, but I will share with you how Periscope helped me. It actually helped me to redefine my market. What I did not realize in my business and in my market was that the people that began to follow me were service-based businesses. They were entrepreneurs, but they were service-based businesses. Now, when I first started out, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't marketing and targeting service-based businesses. I was targeting entrepreneurs, any entrepreneur, anybody who ran a business. But because I'm a service-based business, I know the challenges of the service-based entrepreneur. And so when I was doing my scopes, I was speaking the language of the service-based entrepreneur. And so as a result, I began to redefine who my target market was, because number one, I was speaking their language, and number two, they actually began to follow me. If you've used Periscope or some of the live stream apps, you'll know that, based on some of the topics and the subject lines that you use, you'll begin to attract the people if you're speaking their language, and they'll begin to follow you. So that's how Periscope helped me, okay? So you may want to consider that as one of the options as far as, getting new eyeballs, attracting new business. And so that was one of the things that helped me in terms of getting new eyeballs on my business. Podcasts. I do a podcast. I do a weekly podcast. I started out actually doing podcasts, and I was doing them. Let me get some water because I feel like my throat is drying up a little bit here. I've been going on and on. I hope you guys are, I hope this is helping you guys, but let me get some water right quick. Okay. So Periscope and podcasts. I started out doing podcasts, but I wasn't gaining any traction. And so Periscope helped me to redefine it. And so now I'm relaunching my podcast. So that's another way that you can, get eyeballs on your business. Of course, there's social media, YouTube, excuse me, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the social media platforms help you to get, optimize your visibility. If you're not attracting new business, again, like I said, even when your business is doing well, you're going to fail, okay? Because you need clients to run a business, okay? So, again, these are just some of the ways that you can do this. Okay, and number two, maximizing and leveraging relationships, okay? So number one was, like I said, attracting new business and, gaining visibility, optimizing your visibility. But number two is maximizing and leveraging relationships, okay? So you do that with email marketing, okay? If you don't have an email list, you've heard people say that the money is in the list, okay? That has been one of the proven ways that people are building their businesses, okay? Email marketing, using an autoresponder. And if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, there'll be a time of Q&A, and, we can discuss that shortly. But email marketing, networking, speaking engagements, webinars like we're doing right now, referrals. But the thing about it is you can't, let me say this about referrals, because for a long time I relied on referrals. Now, that is okay to have referrals, but what started happening in my business was, as my business was evolving and I was, changing things in terms of who I wanted to service, because like I said in the beginning of the webinar, when I first started out in my organizing business, I was organizing anybody. I didn't care if you had a garage, if you had an office, if you had, a closet you wanted to have organized, it didn't matter. However, when I started to transition and move and focus a little bit more on my coaching business, then my market changed. And so I didn't want the same type of referrals. I didn't want people referring. Now, they can still refer, business as far as the organizing business, because I'm still involved in that business. However, it changes. And so you have to find new ways, to maximize and leverage those relationships. But referrals is just one part of that. So if you're changing your business, in any way, you want to get, you want to network with people and find new referrals for the type of business that you're using. And since I have 3 businesses, I need a different type of referral. Okay? I hope that made sense because I said a whole lot of stuff. So, all right. So number 3, you want to systemize your processes. Now, let me tell you, I can't tell you, I said, let me tell you, I can't tell you. I can't tell you how important it is. Every business, no matter how small, how large, you need systems, you need automation, you need processes in place for managing the regular work and managing your business. Okay? It doesn't matter, because I've even talked to clients that say, well, I'll think about that later. No, the time to think about systems and processes is when you start your business, okay? And if you followed me for any amount of time, whether it's on Periscope or, whether we know each other personally or whatever, this is what I absolutely love to do outside of organizing. I love to help clients put systems and processes in place for their businesses so that you can free up your time, okay? So, and again, this needs to be established up front. And you can improve it over time, but you need to make sure that you're doing this up front early on in your business. And I know I've shared the story before, and I know I've done it on Periscope, where I actually lost the opportunity for an $11,000 gig or an $11,000 client because I did not have systems and processes in place. I didn't have the right outsourcing in place. I didn't have automation in place. I didn't have any of that stuff in place, and as a result, I lost an $11,000 gig or an $11,000 client in my organizing business. And so it would behoove you to put these things in place early on in your business. Don't do what I did and miss out on opportunities. Okay? So, what are some of the next steps? Okay? Here's the deal. Being your own boss can be both very, very rewarding, and it can be challenging at the same time. But taking charge of your own business and taking charge of your life is essential for you as a service professional, as a service provider, as an entrepreneur, so that you can experience the rewards of entrepreneurship, okay? And so you do that by following those, 3 strategies that I just shared with you. And so what we have learned is, number 1, we talked about how people start service businesses, okay? And you may have missed it if you came on, last. You can watch the replay or what have you. We talked about, the type of service businesses that you can offer. We talked about the advantages and disadvantages. We talked about the characteristics. I have that in there twice. Sorry about that. And so we talked about some of the strategies to accelerate your business to ensure success. Now, obviously, 45 minutes is not enough time to delve into some of the specific strategies, okay? But here's the thing that I want you guys to do on this call. I want you to do this. I want you to make sure that you review all of your notes. If you're taking notes, make sure that you downloaded the checklist or the service guide. It will help you. Okay? Write down your own number one motivation, for running your service business. You know why you wanted to start your business, right? For me, I love organizing, and I discovered that type of business worked for me because that's what I love doing, and I love the results, and it's very fulfilling for me. And so it's I've been doing this, like I said, over 12, 15 years, pretty much. And so, but what is your number one motivation, okay, for running your business? Okay, if you don't have a motivation for running your business, or you don't have some reason that you love what you do, and it may not be what I'm talking about. It may be something that perhaps there's another reason why you want to start or run a service business. Okay, but you need to find out what that motivation is. Okay. Then I want you to determine what your action plan is. Schedule any outstanding activities on your calendar for implementing your plan. Here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to sit around and wait. Okay? If you're already in your business, don't sit around and wait to implement some of the strategies that we talked about. And like I said, I know that we did not have time to delve into, what all of those things look like as far as email marketing, as far as, autoresponders, all those things that we talked about, systems, automation, outsourcing, and all that kind of stuff. However, take action on what you know, okay? Start with where you are and start with what you know, okay? Now, lastly, let me just share this. I have a VIP day coming up where it's going to be about 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours, and it's on Saturday, November the 21st. It's via your computer, okay, because that's how I do things. But if you're interested, you can go to sassysystems.info. And so if you want to know more about that, that's where you'll find that information about that. And in that, or rather on that VIP day, we're going to be delving in and diving in a little bit